So last year I made a video showcasing my entire guitar collection as of 2020. My collection has grown a bit since then, so I decided to make an update. I'll go over my Cobain guitars first, because I'm sure that's what most of you are here to see. My 70s Univox High Flyer Phase 3. I bought this guitar after my graduation, and it's one of my favorites. This is my early 2000s Japanese Stratocaster that I've modified to look like Kurt Cobain's Vandalism Strat. Here's my favorite guitar. It's a 1969 Fender Mustang with a matching headstock. The bridge pickup was replaced with an early 90s Hot Rail, but I still have the original pickup. This Jaguar is one of the rarest guitars I own. It's a Japanese Cobain Jaguar, and it's completely stock. These were made in the late 90s and the early 2000s. This is my 2011 Fender Kurt Cobain Signature Mustang. It's almost completely stock, except the strap lock buttons and a lock tremolo. This is one of the most special guitars I own. It's a 1993 Japanese Mustang. I've fully modified it to the exact spec of the jag-stang 2. This is a March 1997 jag-stang. It's the second Fender I've ever bought. Next to that is my April 1997 jag-stang. The March has a JB and the April has a DiMarzio Super Distortion. I got this Kurt Cobain Jaguar brand new from Sweetwater over a year ago. It's the second Jaguar I've ever had, with the first being a Squier Vintage Modified. And here's the first Fender I've ever bought. I modified this one to match the jag-stang 1. This one is a late 90s Japanese Telecaster. The previous owner already modified it for a neck humbucker, and I modified it for a Seymour Duncan JB in the bridge. This Mustang is very rare. It's an early 2000s VSP 65 reissue, made in Japan. It came with a Super Distortion and a nitro finish, sold by Fender in Japan only as Cobain Mustangs. Here's a 1965 Jaguar neck with binding. This will go on a project that will be finished very soon. And for my non-Nirvana guitars, here's my Highway 1 Stratocaster with 69 custom shop pickups. It has a very thin nitro finish. This is a Korean-made Fender Tornado. I love how it looks, but it has a very heavy mahogany body. It also has a matching headstock. This is my first guitar I've ever played. It's a 90s Korean Stratocaster. And this is an 80s Japanese Tokai Stratocaster. It came stock with 3 hum-canceling single coils by DiMarzio, but I put a DiMarzio chopper in the bridge. This is a 90s made in Mexico Strat. It's one of the first guitars I've ever got. Here's a cool 70s Les Paul knockoff from Crestline. I got this guitar from a pawn shop. Here's my Tele Parts caster. It has a very heavy ash body. This is the first guitar I've put together. It's a Duosonic with a 22-inch scale. There's no clear coat, so it wears very easily. Moving on to my amplifiers, this is a 90s 65 reissue twin reverb. And this is my 1974 Silverface quad reverb. On top of that is an acoustic amp head. And my favorite amp, the Mesa Boogie Studio 22 Plus. I bought this from its original owner who barely used it. It still has the original hang tags attached to it. This is a 70s solid state bass amp. I've had a few questions about this Marshall stack. It's not a real amp, it's a mini fridge in disguise. And onto my pedals, this is my 2000s Polychorus reissue. This was the first thing I bought with my paychecks for my first job. Here's my MXR Phase 90 I got from a pawn shop. One of the coolest things I own is a 70s Echo Flanger. This is my Polytune. Plugged into that is my Sansamp Classic. My 1995 Boss DS2, Russian Big Muff Pi, 1986 Boss DS1, and I got this small clone from a pawn shop, but I'm not sure what year it's from. My most recent pedal is this Proco Rat. Thank you all for watching, and I wish you all a Happy New Year.